There is definitely a Boondocker trend going on here. When I first started collecting boots, you could only get some cheaper versions like from Golden Fox or the really expensive ones like from John Lofgren. And now, here's another one. G'day, how you going? Welcome back to Bootlosophy, and if you're new here, this is my channel reviewing heritage boots, and my name is Tech. I am filming on Wajak country in Perth, Western Australia, Kalyakul Wajak Nungabuja. This is Craft & Glory's version of the Boondocker boot, a style that's gathered some momentum as a service boot style. When I first started collecting heritage boots in 2020, I was most attracted to service boot styles. And while I lusted after the White's MP boot, the first heritage construction boot that I bought was the Thursday Captain. But in that category, I really liked the tan Roughout style of the US Marines World War II Boondocker. And when I looked at the economy end of things, there was the Golden Fox Boondocker. Now for years, I pursued them, but they didn't have the sand suede model in my size. So I started looking elsewhere. And apart from brands who equipped reenactors, the others were expensive versions from Roll Club and John Lofgren that were MTO and you had to wait. But recently, in the last at least couple of years, I note that more and more quality brands in that mid-price range started producing Boondocker boots, including Oak Street Bootmakers a couple of years ago. Then recently, Jet and now Craft & Glory. I've put links below to their website so you can take a look at these moderate priced models. You know, I am fascinated by the Boondocker style, so let's get into this review. So what makes a Boondocker a Boondocker? I make my comparisons by reference to a website called usww2uniforms.com. Generally speaking, the Boondocker, or technically the 1941 US Marine Corps field shoe, is a Roughout boot, where the full grain leather is turned inside out. Some were light tan, but most were natural, like Horween's Natural Chrome XL. Some were issued with pre-treated with a waterproofing compound, but most were issued with a tin of Dubbin grease for the Marines to coat the rough outside to waterproof and protect them. In this version, it's a plain toe 6-inch high with a rubber sole and heel. Like original Boondockers, the toe is unstructured, and the backstay, acting also as the heel counter cover, is a single piece backstay that covers the heel area and then narrows and goes up the back. Like original Boondockers, the quarters come down just in front of the backstay. Like original Boondockers, the hardware is an all-eyelet configuration. Like the original, it's a 270-degree Goodyear welted boot, but I'll talk more about that when I get into the construction. Unlike the original, the Craft & Glory proprietary flat rubber sole and block heel use a Dr. Sole lookalike pattern rather than being the original grooved and corded rubber sole where pieces of cord were cut up and mixed with pieces of cut up rubber and then molded into the sole. Another difference from the original is the last, which produces a rounder toe profile, but as it's unstructured, I expect that as it collapses, it will start to look more like the original flat profile at the toe box. Also, unlike the original, it's green. If you want to think about what outfits you might want to wear this casual green boot with, go and see my video about how to style green boots. If you watch my review of the Craft & Glory combat boot, originally called the Gurkha boot, so that's the title of my video. In it, I give you a full history of the brand Craft & Glory. But if you are a bit lazy, here's a potted version. Craft & Glory is an Indian heritage leather brand founded in 2017 by Rohit Anand and Nitika, based near Delhi. They discovered a passion for rugged, high-quality gear from their childhood experiences in the Himalayan foothills. Rohit launched the brand to address a lack of durable, sustainable leather products in the Indian market, originally starting with handcrafted leather bags and accessories, which they sold locally retail. The company spent its first few years establishing that reputation for slow fashion before expanding into the heritage footwear market. The brand has since become a prominent name in the global boot community, often described as an Indian Filson due to its focus on Asian buffalo leather and vintage-inspired workwear aesthetics. And that includes styles like engineer boots, mock toes, and military-inspired service boots. By transitioning from a local boutique to an international made-to-order model, the company aims to democratize high-end heritage footwear, offering traditional high-end craftsmanship at a more accessible price point for enthusiasts worldwide. I need to let you know that this pair was sent to me for review. Obviously, that pleases me. Pleases me a lot. I love these boots. But nevertheless, it's a no strings attached review, which they didn't oversight before I uploaded it, so I'm taking an as objective as possible view. This is my third pair of Craft and Glory boots though, and I am really liking the brand more and more. Let's get into the guts of it. Let's go through how this boot is put together. As usual, I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. No, actually, I'm going to start in the middle. Now, in Goodyear welting, a canvas strip called the gemming is glued to the edge of the insole. The uppers are then lasted and turned inwards and machine stitched to the gemming through the inside edge of a strip of leather that's called the welt. Once the uppers are attached to the welt, the sole construction is stitched to the uppers through the outside edge of the welt. This form of construction is water resistant and it is resolable when the outsole wears out. So that's how the sole and uppers are connected. So now, let's take a look at the sole. It's a thick rubber sole molded with a Dr. Sole look-alike pattern. Offers great grip. I found this really fantastic in all kinds of flooring and outdoors. And it's very cleanly stitched through. The heel is a single piece of rubber block heel. It's glued and then nailed through. Having explained the welt, this is actually a 270-degree leather welt, meaning that it starts and finishes around the front 3/4 of the boot rather than going all the way around. Part of the craftsmanship that I admire can be seen in the way that the welt ends, skived on top of the leather heel rand, which the heel sits on, almost seamlessly. Moving on up inside the boot, the insole is veg tan leather, and on top of that is a leather heel protector glued on. And on top of that, this is what you can see, they provide you with a removable foam-bottomed leather-topped insole for extra comfort and fit. If you take that out and look in, I won't do that, you will see what looks like a Blake stitch going around the insole. But that's actually part of another stitch to secure the gemming. In Red Wing, the gemming is glued on. So here, they stitch that gemming on. There's also a natural cork layer in the cavity in the sole, offering comfort and the movement to adjust to the shape of your foot. The toe box is unstructured, and I don't know what the heel stiffener is made of, but it is quite firm. So I wonder if it is in fact a thermoplastic, although that would surprise me for the materials that they otherwise use. It might well be leather. The boot is leather lined in the vamp, but it's unlined in the shaft. It being a Roughout, you just get the grain side. The uppers leather is full grain Asian water buffalo, measuring about 1.8 to 2 millimeters thick in places, yet soft and supple due to that fiber structure of the water buffalo. The nap of the Roughout is left quite long, and while not hairy, is much more nappy than most Roughout leathers. Grizzly, I think, is probably a good name for it. Craft and Glory say that the patina potential is medium, and I think that's probably right. The nap will show grease and wear, and as I handle it, it'll flatten down, but it's not going to be a crazy patina. The tongue is sewn onto the vamp quite high up at about the 3rd eyelet, and it is semi-gusseted up to the 5th eyelet. It's a generous wide tongue, and when tightly laced up, covers and protects you from the hardware. The hardware, all 7 eyelets, no speed hooks. The hardware is antique brass, looks solid, and they're really finished quite nicely at the back with washer backings. But if you run your finger along them, they are surprisingly a little scratchy, so not finished off perfectly. It's actually hard to see the green stitching on the green leather, particularly with the hairy nap, but it looks clean and accurate. The quality of construction overall looks pretty good. As for Leathercare, you can, like the original Marines, use a greasy dubbin or something like Obernoff's grease to slather over the Roughout to waterproof it. But in my experience, it becomes a messy business, and unless you're going to wear this as a woodsman in the rainy logging camps of the American Pacific Northwest, I'd leave it out. Enjoy the soft, nappy nature of this leather. What I would do, though, before your first wear is to spray it with a waterproofing spray, something like Tarago's Nano Spray or Sophia's Invulner Spray, or even use Red Wings or Timberland's Suede and Nubuck waterproofing sprays. You have to renew this waterproofing every now and then. As for regular care, just brush it with a stiffer brush like a suede brush to keep dirt and dust off it and to clean the net. If it gets muddy, wait for the mud to dry and then scrape it off first, then brush it off and then wipe it with a damp cloth. If that doesn't get all the caked on mud off, you can use a suede shampoo like Sophia's Omnidiam. Don't use a saddle soap though, I think, because it might contain a waxy content that would put a surface on it. To condition, Craft & Glory advise to condition it on the inside, not over the Roughout nap. I think if you do that, something like Venetian shoe cream on the inside would be fine. When it comes to sizing, Craft & Glory advises you go to true to size. They can accommodate you in equivalent US, UK, and European sizing conventions. They're all listed. If you take my example, I measure a UK 7.5 as my true size. The US version of that is 8.5, and the European version is 41.5. In most US boots that advise going half size down, I take a US size 8. But in this case, stick to your true size. Do not go a half down. They also have wide widths as well. This is a standard width, so I don't have experience of the wider widths. Now, I know someone's going to ask me in the comments what my feet measure or what my sneaker size is. I'm not going to answer you. The length of my feet is a poor guide. I mean, what's the width of my feet? What's the length between the heel and the ball of the foot? What's the volume of my feet? I mean, my feet are three-dimensional. Do I accommodate a wider and bigger foot, or do I accommodate my smaller one? As for sneaker sizes, don't get me started. Some sneaker sizes at US 9 are the same as 8.5 in other brands. Go and get your feet measured at a shoe store, or take your measurements in length and width and around the instep and email that to Craft & Glory. A couple of things to note though. Craft & Glory use different lasts, obviously. And depending on the last, I find that true to size a little big on some lasts, like on my hiker boots from Craft & Glory. So touching base with them, I think, is advised. On that though, I have heard that they're not very quick in responding to emails and DMs, and I hope they'll get better because I think that's critical. A lot of good work can be let down by poor communications. Now, turning to comfort, these are great. The last suits my feet really well with a roomy forefoot, not too long in the toes, and it cups the heel quite well. The soft and supple leather is supportive while also flexible. If you tie it up, your ankles are well supported, but it's so flexible you don't feel stiff. The removable insole is cushy and comfy. The welt and sole construction is actually quite flexible and didn't need much breaking in, although I've really only worn this a couple of weeks. I'm about to go away, so I had to rush a couple of these reviews together before wearing them. I might bring you a long-term review in maybe a year or so. To summarize, they are good-looking boots, perhaps not quite the shape and profile of an original Boondocker, if that's exactly what you're looking for. They're also the wrong color. At $269 US, the materials and quality of construction make that an amazing price. Don't ask me about tariffs, who knows right now. They compare well with other mid-priced brands, and against better quality brands like Grant Stone, they're cheaper. And the difference in craftsmanship, not materials, I think is not that far behind. That's one of the reasons this is becoming one of my favorite brands. Now, I don't have any long-term experience of the water buffalo leather though. So if you're comparing it to, say, a more ruggedly made and a boot that uses more rugged materials like a Parkhurst with its waxy commanders or ramblers, I'm not sure what the long-term wear is going to be like. All in all, though, at under US $300 and just over 300 Australian dollars, you get a pretty good bang for your buck. You get a decent and certainly thick leather. Because of the fibers, it's quite durable leather. You get a hand-welded construction. The design is attractive, and the cleanliness of the makeup is really good. And it's comfortable. It's worth a punt. So let me know what you think. Keep the comments civil. And don't forget to also click on the like button. And if you're not subscribed, I would appreciate it if you consider, if you want to subscribe, and then do. I'm bringing you loads of boot content that not only involve the reviews, but also construction details, history, and from time to time, outfit style choices. I'm back next week. Take care out there and see you again soon.